Here's Brody Brazil.
Well, I suppose the title of this video alone kind of gives away the main point, doesn't it? So the purpose of what I intend to do here is take a look back in time and how Reno, Nevada was ever even suggested as a possible temporary home for the Oakland A's in their interim years before they actually land, maybe, in Las Vegas. I'm also going to analyze the present and why Reno is maybe not actually being considered. In fact, the news coming out of the biggest little city in the world right now is that the A's haven't even reached out to talk to the Reno Aces or potentially use that ballpark for 3 temporary seasons. So let's actually begin with, again, the backstory here, how all of this came up. And when the A's started to go through the legislative process in the state of Nevada, you knew that temporary seasons somewhere might be part of their plan. Whether those seasons would continue to be played in Oakland or some outside chance like Anaheim or even an international city was brought up. Places that made sense from a geographic standpoint, a population standpoint, somewhere that already had the infrastructure and venue and facilities to host a major league team. But obviously, nobody really had Reno, Nevada on their radar. That is until the legislative session. I believe it was an assembly hearing for the first time. That's Steve Hill right there in the middle between Jeremy Aguero and A's team president Dave Kaval. He's the one who actually first brought this up. And I have the clip for you of how exactly it came up in conversation. Lawmakers were asking A's representatives, well, what about these interim years? And is it a possibility that you, the A's, might consider playing somewhere in the state of Nevada to help boost revenue and give this entire thing a kickstart? Like, in addition to the 30-year commitment for the stadium in Las Vegas, is there any way you could play the temporary seasons somewhere in Nevada so that the state could start, getting something back from the public contribution? So again, I've pulled this clip. This is how Reno even came up in the conversation.
Will the state of Nevada and Clark County, if they're playing in Clark County, be making revenue? And what do you anticipate that revenue is until this stadium, if this bill passes, where we won't be making anything? And that's my opinion. Will we be making revenue in those years leading up to the first pitch at that new, shiny, pretty stadium on Trop and Strip?
Assemblywoman Steve Hill, just to be clear on the stadium and where they can play conversation, where Major League teams can play is subject to collective bargaining. The Players Association has to agree to play wherever they're going to play. So if it's an alternative location, and the A's have committed to have that conversation and to work to have some of their games not only at the ballpark, but potentially at the ballpark in Reno as well. But they can't commit to it because they have to enter into a collective bargaining conversation with the Major League Baseball Players Association. They can and will and have said that they will have exhibition games for certainly in the ballpark there. But that's just to be clear about that. They would like to be able to play some games in Nevada prior to moving into the stadium, but can't make that commitment right now because of that.
Which is interesting now because it seems like Summerlin has been taken far off the front burner and now Reno, Nevada is not really being considered. I'll get to the quote from the Aces, how they say that the A's haven't even reached out. But that sure is interesting in retrospect that the A's were going to kind of make a push towards just existing in Nevada before 2028, and now certainly doesn't feel like that's going to happen. Greater Nevada Field went up in 2009. It has 6,500 seats. It can hold 9,000 plus fans. It's just, obviously, it's meant for AAA baseball, and the Aces have been the Diamondbacks affiliate, since 2009. I really like what they're doing here in Reno, and if you're from Reno watching this, I know there's people all over here on YouTube. This is not a knock on Reno. What you have is beautiful for literally what you have. But I don't know that the A's for 3 full seasons in a temporary situation, I don't know that it ever truly made sense as much as the team right now is kind of courting Sacramento or talking to Salt Lake City. You can see how maybe this got kind of passed up once other options became possibilities. So again, great ballpark. It's perfect for what they use it for. Here's what Reno Aces president Eric Edelstein said to the Reno Gazette-Journal. He told the RGJ that the club would welcome the opportunity to have the A's play at Greater Nevada Field, but they have not been contacted yet, obviously by the A's. Quote, "We would welcome the opportunity and certainly believe that Greater Nevada Field is one of the best facilities outside the major leagues. We've not received any reach out. We will be ready when it comes," Edelstein wrote to the RGJ. Seems quite optimistic when it comes. I just don't know at this point if the A's truly are shopping Sacramento and Salt Lake City, and that Summerlin option, again, it's just out there, a little bit of a bigger stadium, obviously in the market of Las Vegas. You could see why getting to Nevada would have made sense from the dangling of the carrot perspective, right? That the A's were getting $380 million from lawmakers, a lot of it from the state, some of it from Clark County, but a lot of it from the state and those transferable tax credits. So they want to return the favor, the A's would, to the state of Nevada by just starting to play games there, using this ballpark to a greater purpose than it even has right now, generating tax revenue in the state. But it just does not seem like this is even being brought up realistically. So my takeaways are this, and not to knock against Reno again, but the population of even Reno and Sparks and Carson City, about 500,000 and 500,000 well spaced out. You just don't have a density there. If we were saying, hey, this is a 3-month stay or a 3-week stay, of course, you could probably make some things happen. Now, I don't even know about the infrastructure of the ballpark itself. Is it truly major league ready? How about let's be honest, the necessary 5-star resort type hotels? Are they right down the street of where the Dodgers and the Rockies and the Marlins and the Yankees, I'm just mentioning every team, of where they'd want to stay? Like, does this really fit the major league infrastructure right now? I don't know. There's obviously the capacity thing, but again, you could point towards Salt Lake City where that ballpark in Daybreak, which is being built right now, it's only going to have 7,500 seats. That's being apparently highly considered, even expandable to 11,000, but we're still talking just thousands of seats difference here. Like, there is a large difference between 7,000 and 35,000 in the same way that there's a large difference even between 11,000 and 35,000. We're down at these small numbers, 1,000 here, 1,000 there, maybe doesn't, make the biggest difference, but ballpark capacity has to be considered here. It's not like it's a 20,000 seat venue. I'm also curious about any kind of deal that Reno could cut the A's or break. They could make for the A's. With Sacramento, maybe it's that the ballpark gets upgraded for the A's as part of this so that they don't have to pump any money into this and they'll go play in West Sacramento at Sutter Health Park and it's upgraded and ready for the A's. They don't have to do anything. Or maybe in Salt Lake City, like, that Miller Group up there, they're very much trying to attract Major League Baseball. Maybe it's that there are some, I don't want to say freebies, but there are some things thrown into the package for the A's, like the Miller Company and the Miller Corporation will take care of certain relocation costs or whatever. Like, they really want to pull the A's in badly, so that group will make some offers and some concessions. Like, what deal can Reno cut the A's? Yeah, like, I think it really comes down to that when this temporary city is selected at some point. I also think, and let's be real about this, Sacramento, not even really a major league tryout. I don't know. I honestly don't know if they would be truly considered by Major League Baseball for an expansion franchise in the near future. And I'm not saying they don't deserve it. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm saying in a perfect world, they do deserve that. Size-wise, ability, obviously supporting the Kings like they do. But I just don't know that Major League Baseball is at that point with Sacramento here and now. And there are some other complications and concerns, territories and restrictions, all that stuff, like Nashville, very much being considered by baseball for expansion. I think Salt Lake City, with their big league Utah group, part of the Miller Corporation, is being considered to a serious degree. Like, they've got plans, they can make it work. You'd think public money is probably part of that. So I do think it's a tryout, a big league tryout for Salt Lake City. Kinda, maybe, not likely for Sacramento. Definitely not for Reno, Nevada. Major League Baseball is not going to be permanently in Reno, Nevada anytime soon. But the last point I'll make here is that, again, we go back to the legislative session. We go back to when the A's were trying to secure that money and making a lot of promises, things like a retractable roof ballpark. Seems like that's not going to happen. Things like we'll play in Nevada. We're going to try and make the effort to play in Nevada. Doesn't seem like that's likely either. In fact, right now, and I'm not a betting man, but if I were to bet where the temporary seasons would take place, and my choices were either on one hand, either Sacramento or Salt Lake, or somewhere in Nevada, I would definitely take the California-Utah options versus anything that Nevada could pitch right now. And again, that's just an educated guess, but it doesn't seem like that favor of those early first 3 years are going to happen for the state of Nevada. So you can't spell Reno without N-O, and it seems like the A's are just, I don't want to say they're saying no to Reno, but they're not even reaching out. They're not even going to explore that option. And largely predictable. I've been saying that here on the channel for quite some time. But it seems like that's how it's going to play out in real life. All right, you made it here to the end of the video. I appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so I can definitely see you back here next time.